Hello my friends, welcome to new Magister Clavus video. It is some time since I have uploaded a new video for you, and today or tonight I have something special. Now we are in very specific days of the year, some call them holidays, some call them Christmas. For me, and also I think for some of you, these are the old times and old festivities of from the Roman and even Greek times. They are called Saturnalia. So this video today will be practically about a very specific entity, and I think you can already guess. It will be about the Saturnus or Saturn, the old ancient Roman god that also prevails Roman culture, but is mostly related to the Roman times. As some of you know, those that are watching my channel, you know that I am spending quite a lot of time currently in these several weeks working with the Saturnian current. And I can tell you that this week practically as the Saturnalia is in its midst and it's going to peak, it will be also the peak of my rituals with Saturn. But before I will speak a little bit about my internal gnosis, because this can be really subjective, I would like to speak as always a little bit about the history of Saturn. Saturn or Saturnus is one of the most complex deities and also most complex godhoods in Roman times. Saturn is practically connected with to be a god of agriculture, periodic renewal of nature, liberation, also dissolution, plenty, wealth, but also he is very closely connected to time. From Greek times, his original name was Kronos, which is practically a name for the Greek Titan, and it's connected with time. We know that Kronos or Saturnus later on was father of Zeus or Jupiter, father of the Greek and later also Roman pantheon. It is also from astrological perspective, we know that there are not so many planets, but it's considered a seventh planet, the farthest planet from the time of Romans, because they did not knew at the time about another ones. And he is considered as I would say a step between the chaos that was represented by the chaos titan Uranus, his father, that he deposed Uranus, he castrated Uranus with a scythe, and it's practically said that Saturn was able to finish or change the time of chaos. And later on the legend says, of course, that from his progeny, other gods of the Roman and Greek pantheon were created. So Saturn, although he is the defeater or someone who defeated chaos, his father Uranus, he is also a progenitor of other deities. But a lot of chaotic energies in him still remain. There was, of course, this very famous legend that he will be also deposed by another son of his. It was Jupiter. There is a legend, of course, that he wanted to eat his children. He created the children and later decided to eat them, but Zeus was able to avoid this cruel fate. Instead, Saturnus ate a stone. If you have seen these old pictures of Goya, these are really dark ones where like Saturn is eating his own children. According to Roman mythology, his wife is called Ops, it was Rhea in Greek times, and she's connected, or she is a goddess of wealth, abundance and resources. So you can see that although that Saturn is considered a dark, chaotic, or a deity that is very connected with the chaos, because still his father is practically the chaos. He can also provide order, because he created these gods, although he is tyrannical. There are some initial sources, mostly from the Roman literature. Where does the Roman name Saturn comes from? According to the famous Roman author and polymath Marcus Terentius Varro, the name of Saturn comes from the Latin word satus, which means sowing. We can say that he is also closely related to the agriculture. During the Roman and also Greek periods, he was worshipped but also feared. Clearly he can provide order, but he was deposed by the gods that represent like current order of things. And although that he provided, or he's responsible for the change of the cycles, nature and so on, people were afraid of him, because he is still a little bit like disappointed by his fate. He is exiled. He is the last planet of the at that time known solar system. He can bring winter. He can bring death. That's why a lot of Roman people that worshipped him were trying to appease him during this winter solstice time with a very famous and one of the biggest festivals in the Roman times, called Saturnalia. Symbol of Saturn were chains. It means that he was also like chained during the year. But during the time of Saturnalia, which happened between December 17th till December 23rd, something that was later on replaced by Christmas, he was released from this prison. His figure was taken away from the temple of Saturn on the Capitol Hill. If you have been in Rome, you can still see the ruins of on the Capitolian Hill. It is really a very pompous and big temple. At that time, it was probably one of the biggest. And his figure, a statue of Saturn that was kept with bound legs in wool, was released during the period of festival. This festival of Saturnalia was really a wild thing. People were trying to do a lot of festivities, dancing, drinking, orgies. It was also considered as a festival of light, very closely related to the winter solstice. They were praying that the more they will be doing this Saturnalia magical festivities, then the appeased Saturn will retreat back, and the light and the sun will be able to bring again prosperity. The agriculture will work and the year will be good. If these Saturnalia festivities were practically the times from which even in the medieval times we have a lot of other festivities, like for example in the German city of Köln, when during these times people wear masks, and even in the medieval times people were trying to change the feudal order, and so a little bit chaos came into the life. People were embracing chaos during the Saturnalia, giving the Saturn his free reign over the people. Saturn as exiled deity is also very closely connected with the so-called chthonic powers, the powers of the underworld. He was also during Saturnalia sometimes worshipped together with another deity in Roman times called Dis Pater. Dis Pater is equivalent of the Greek god Pluton, the god of the underworld and also the god of the hidden wealth. So this is practically the meaning that if these gods will be somehow worshipped during these winter times, the hidden wealth, the agriculture, the harvest will be strong, and from even these deities are chthonic, deities of chaos, death, they at the end, if appeased, can bring life and light to the people. We know, or at least know from the historical sources, that during the time of Saturnalia, there existed so-called Saturnalia offerings called munera. These were gladiatorial offerings. During the times of Saturnalia, there were held gladiatorial tournaments. I think that gladiatorial tournaments were mostly bloody or to the death. It is not the true. Even during these times, those schools that had like gladiators in their teams, they were called like lanistas. These people that were teachers of the gladiators, and they didn't want their pupils to fight to the death, because gladiator took a lot of time to be learned, these arts of fighting. It was a very expensive commodity, so they were practically doing shows, maybe to the first blood and so on. But during Saturnalia, sometimes these fights were held to the death. Of course, mostly by Christian apologists in early medieval times, these Saturnalia were demonized again, because of course it was told that Saturn was a greedy deity that requested these fights till the death, that it was practically a human sacrifice, which might be also true. Blood was of course closely related as a symbol of life to the Saturnalian deity. Although Romans took a lot of rites from Greeks, and also these Saturnalia worships of Saturn were very close to the previous Greek tradition of the of worshipping of Kronos, or it was not worshipped, it was practically only during specific times, because Kronos also meant chaos and people were afraid of him. But during specific times of this winter solstice, even Kronos was tried to be appeased, maybe not worshipped. But the etymology of I think that what gives me like more understanding is that this word Saturn may come from might have Etruscan origin. Etruscans were like original culture that was living in the North Italy, and they were worshipping so-called Satre or Satyrs. This was also Etruscan god of underworld, and he was the keeper of treasures from the earth. So maybe here we see some combination of the Kronos and Satyr that later on was practically developed into the into the god of Saturn. Another very known attributes or weapons of Saturn are maybe also close related to the death and also to the agriculture, is this scythe and sickle. Later on, Saturn is being syncretized with other deities. Some depict him as so-called winged god called Kairos, and this means an entity that is very close to the time. or can be even replaced by not like a god, but by the weather. So weather is also very closely related to Saturn as such. What is interesting to be said that that Saturn as a god was always also related, or also in other religions and cultures, with a planet Saturn. People at that time believed, and also in modern occultism, mostly in planetary magic, people believed that planet represents also a god. Now, from the of course, now we know that Saturn is a gas giant, the second biggest gas giant in solar system. Around him orbit a lot of moons and ice particles. But even in modern occultism, we understand that the planet as such, or we can call it planet, is also a physical manifestation in the material plane, but it is also a spiritual symbol of the god Saturn. Saturn was always connected with this dark chthonic symbol of chaos, something that came from chaos. It's not entirely chaos, but was still a little bit dangerous for the people, and that's why the new gods replaced him. It is interesting to be said that this is not only related to the Greek or Roman culture. These 7 planets, even Sun and Moon were considered planets in astrology. The 7th one, the Saturn, were always this darkest, this outsider. Whether it was in the Sumerian, in Sumeria or Assyria later, Saturn was always considered as a god from where beyond Saturn there was practically only chaos. So it's nice to say when later Uranus was discovered, that the planet that is beyond Saturn is Uranus, which is the father of the Saturn. But why I'm mentioning this? In a culture that was thousands of miles far away from the time of Romans, there was a deity that is still lively worshipped until today, with a lively cult that still exists. There are still temples of this deity. This deity is from India, and it represents planet Saturn, but in India this deity is called Shani. Shani is a divine personification of the planet Saturn in Hinduism. The first mentionings of the god Shani appears in astronomical texts in Sanskrit, which is the 5th till 6th century of current era, so it's a little bit, of course, later, but still this is quite old source. These manuscripts in Sanskrit practically say that the Saturn is the slowest orbiter around the Sun, and Shani is depicted as a pale man with mustache, riding a chariot driven by a crow. So also crows were symbols of Shani, and crows are also symbols of Saturn. This deity is still being worshipped. The symbol of him is also blue sapphire gemstone, and is also considered the 7th day of the week, which is Saturday, the same as in the time of the Romans, the same as it was in the medieval occult times. Saturday, so it's mean Saturn's day. Shani is also worshipped mostly during this specific Saturday. And there are practically very many of the similarities. He was considered, Shani is considered inauspicious, feared, delivering misfortune to those that deserve it, and to those that it's like this old orbiting thing that delivers the karma to all that deserve it. He is being worshipped to reduce this negative influence of chaos in our lives. So practically these deities are syncretic. What is really interesting is just that Shani, if you will visit his temples in Maharashtra, Madhya Pradesh, Tamil Nadu, there are temples that are still like open. Unfortunately in Europe we do not have it anymore, but in India you can find it. In later times, after the dissolving of the Roman Empire, mostly the western part of the empire, the cult of Saturn was mostly replaced by early Christianity. Times of Saturnalia and these feasts to appease the little bit chaotic deity were replaced by the mystery of the birth of the Christ. But still, mostly in the and at that time Islam was trying to take a lot of later on had a lot of old books from the Byzantine and so on. Later on in Islam, it is very interesting to be said that practically was in this case a proto-Islamic deity, something before the Islam took and become very, very strong in this area. It is that there was an entity called Zuhal. Zuhal meant practically Saturn as well. We can find these mentionings of this Saturnian negative god in very early occult literature, mostly from Islamic literature, Picatrix, of course, and another one is Ibn Washia's treatise called Nabatean Agriculture. Ibn Washia, who was the author of the book Nabatean Agriculture, writes a very interesting article or is mentioning this Zuhal, the Saturnian god, and I will probably just try to read it for you because you will see a lot of commonalities with this god of Saturn or Shani. So Ibn Washia is writing in his treatise, "Beware the evil of this god, this Zuhal. When he is angered or to the west of the sun or veiled in its rays in the middle of its return. Pray to him this prayer which we have just given here. While you are praying this prayer, give a burnt offering to his idol consisting of old hides, grease, strips of leather and dead bats. Burn for him 14 dead bats and an equal amount of his rats. Then take their ashes and prostrate yourself on them in front of his idol. Prostrate yourselves to him in the form of a black stone on a black sand and seek refuge from him against his evil. So they really try to make him appeased. Because, oh my brethren and beloved ones, he is the cause of the perishing of all that perishes, the cause of decay of all that decays, the cause of perdition of all that is destroyed, the cause of sorrow of all that sorrowful ones, and the weeping of all the weeping ones. He is the Lord of evil and sin and filth and dirt and poverty. So we can see that those that are worshipping him are also fearing him, something that is common in also in these other syncretistic deities later on, like Kronos or Saturn. What really intrigued my interest was this prostration before the black stone or black sand. So we know also that symbol of Saturn many times was a black cube that should have been done from the black stone, and it represented practically a prison. That idol in the Saturnian temple was also put into the black form of a coffin, so it in the form of a cube, some say. And it meant Pandora box opened during the Saturnalia times to bring chaos, a little bit chaos into us, because chaos is sometimes always also needed in our lives to bring this change of the dying sun. People were thinking that during the winter the sun is dying, so the symbol of it was this box, this prison. And in this Nabatean Agriculture by Ibn Bashia, he is mentioning also the black box to which we should prostrate ourselves. And we know that the symbol of one of the biggest temples or most holy shrines of current Islam is the shrine of Kaaba, which is in the form of a black cube. We also know that there is a stone. Some people think that this stone might be of meteoritic origin, but unfortunately it's forbidden to do any tests from it. But still the city of Kaaba, the cube, is being worshipped. I don't want to touch this subject. You know that some people might say that I'm saying something that might bring wrath of people that believe in Islam, but we know that the mentionings of the cube, of the black cube, might be from the proto-Islamic. So I understand that Kaaba as such is a holy shrine that has its significant impact during the times of Ramadan, but the form of the shrine represents maybe these pre-Islamic times of a prison, of something that is being maybe not being worshipped because of the fear that the origin of this cube might be older than we think. In current times or in medieval times, the symbol of Saturn is also a black cube. There are very interesting similarities with this worship of Saturnian planet, or the planet of Saturn, also not only in India, Asia and Europe, but we find also commonalities in Central and Latin America, or pre-Latin America, in Mexico, where the Aztecs were worshipping one of the biggest deities in their time and one of the bloodiest deities, called Tezcatlipoca. Tezcatlipoca was also a deity very connected with this seventh astrological planet of Saturn. Tezcatlipoca was a bloody deity. People were offering him multiple human sacrifices to appease him, not only because of the winter, because the winter was different in the time, but to keep order from his chaos. He was a chaotic being that should be appeased by hearts of people, by death of people. And his symbol, or he can be translated maybe as a lord of the smoky mirror. his symbol, sometimes his left leg, when you see these old script paintings or stone-made monuments of Tezcatlipoca, you see that his left foot is missing, and instead of it is a very strange form of a black mirror. These black mirrors were later found. They were made from obsidian, and they were found in various temples of Tezcatlipoca, and were considered as symbols through which the priests could look through these obsidian mirrors and commune with this dark, chaotic deity. So many of us later on in the medieval times were trying, or many of occultists during the medieval times were trying to invoke Saturn as an entity that could bring them a little bit of this insight, to touch this chaos in us, to make us a little bit with this origin of the divine, with this with something that predates our current order. Saturn is considered an oldest deity. It is many times in medieval times, those that invoke him say that they saw him either as a black void, black mirror, black cube, or old man. And those that work with him say that he is really a deity that is somehow maimed, somehow hurt by his children. Although he is a progenitor of life, he sometimes takes this life back. And also when you work with Saturn, you can get a lot of internal gnosis. Later on in Kabbalah, Saturn is considered a deity of, or in Kabbalah, he is considered as a being that resides or should reside with the Sephiroth of Bina. Bina is the third Sephiroth, and it's the Sephiroth of knowledge. So we know also that Bina as a third Sephiroth has also its counterpart in Qliphothic 3 called Satariel, which is the opposite of wisdom, and it's a place where Lucifuge Rofokal should reside itself. It is this darkening of knowledge. And Satariel, again, Saturn, I don't want to say that it's the same, but some things might just click there. Yeah, it's said by many that Saturn first time takes from you your energy. He can even bring some kind of unfortunate events around you. You have seen some of my shows. I'm invoking him for the fourth week each day, and sometimes it was very hard for me. But at the end, it is a slow deity that should be later on. If you go through this pain, later on you will become more fortified against everything. Saturn takes, and by this taking you become this core. You become this blue amethyst maybe in Shani religion, or you will become really this black stone, or in alchemical sayings, this aratron, this alchemical transformation. We know that there is also, I spoke about it in my other video about planetary intelligences. There is a planetary intelligence of Aratron, which is related to Saturn, and it can provide a lot of wisdom. But I can tell you that when I was working with this entity, we have a lot of information. As you say, I'm speaking a lot about this. Will be a long video, but I still want to finish it for you, and you can maybe watch it twice, or just interrupt it and watch it later. But when I work with this Saturnian energy, I try to come into it as I do always in my invocations, from the perspective of those people that were venerating and trying to understand the deity at the time when they were venerating it, not from my modern perspective that this is some kind of teacher or something. I started to have results with Saturn when I accepted him as a real deity, as a real theistic, means real deity, not just metaphysical concept. Because those people that were invoking and doing these Saturnalia rituals, people that were dying in arenas, people that were voluntarily, some of them were voluntarily offered on the black stone slabs of Tezcatlipoca. They believed in actual deity. And after you start to get into this mindset, you will start to feel the energy of it. The energy of something that is still around, something that was denied, that is rebellious, that was denied its powers, but still can't be killed, something that at the end might even prevail, because chaos will at the end, this end of solar system will happen in few billions of years when the sun will devour most of the planets. But Saturn will be still orbiting, although in very bad state, and but it will be here. Not Mercury, not Venus. Some say in this legends that when you read the Greek stories about Saturn, you know that these Greek gods, some of them were, their progenitor mostly was Saturn. There were only 2 planets from the 7 planets that were that their progenitor was someone else. Saturn itself was created by Uranus, by chaos, and Venus was also created by Uranus, because when Jupiter cut his Saturnian genitalia, I'm sorry, when Kronos cut Uranus genitalia, the sperm went into the sea, and from the sea the Aphrodite or Venus was born. So these 2 planets, Venus and Saturn, come directly from chaos. And we also know that sometimes Venus is considered to be a symbol of Lucifer, symbol of enlightenment. And then there is this death, this Saturn. So it's up for us to, and I think that they are not the same. Some say that maybe from the modern Luciferian perspective, that Saturn is practically maybe a Satan. Satan imprisoned in this black cube. Satan as a rebel, as someone who is going to, maybe will be released according to the Bible, to bring a new age again. I don't know. There are so many myths that are just interlapping and overlapping and might mean something else, but very strange thoughts come to you. Maybe it's thoughts about the changing of this of the time, that the world as we know is maybe not so shiny and orderly. You can see it even all these times. Many times the words that came to me were like this, from this Hobbesian book Leviathan, that Homo homini lupus est, that a man to a man can be a wolf. And I know that now we are living and we are having these holidays, the holidays of peace and happiness and good food. But remember please that maybe just 1,600 years ago, these were the times of Saturnalia, times of chaos, orgies, drinking, when people were fearing the future and wanted to appease this thirsty god that will at the end will still be here when the Earth will be not here, because the sun and its heat will devour it. So enjoy the Saturnalia. I hope the video was not too long for you, and see you next time. Take care, my friends.